Hello and welcome to Ask the Expert. I'm your host, Patty Nuovo, and I'm very excited to have a guest here today. Her name is Kimberly Maya Urea. She's a Feng Shui consultant, and welcome.
Thanks.
Can you explain what is Feng Shui?
Feng Shui is working with energy, and it's actually looking at how to bring in good energy, contain it so that we can use it and it can support us, and how to diminish the negative energy.
And how do you do that?
Wow.
Big question.
Okay, how do I do that? Well, by going to people's houses and businesses and sitting down with them and asking them what's working for them in their space, what's not working for them in their space, and walking through their home or office and seeing where what's not working matches up with their environment, where you can see that blockage of energy.
Kimberly, can you explain when you say when something's not working, what does that mean?
Well, for instance, someone may call me into their home or office and they might have a health issue. So we can look at areas in the house where that might be exposed and be able to work with that part of the house. They may be stuck in their career. They don't have vision, they don't know where they're headed, so we can look at that area of their house and see if we can get some movement there for them if they're feeling stuck.
Now, is it just a matter of moving furniture around?
That is part of it, because you want to be able to move energy, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Really, it's about getting in there and actually working with the person and what's happening with them. Because it's not just where their couch is, but it's how that couch is impacting them every day. Does that explain?
Yes. Does that have to do anything with where things are facing, where light is coming in, like sunrise is in the east, sets in the west? I mean, is it compass points? I mean, how does that work?
Well, it does work with compass directions. There are different schools of thought in Feng Shui. One of them is classical compass Feng Shui, and it works with directionology. And so it really looks with the patterns of the sun. The Taoists, I don't know if you heard of the Taoists in China, they were around thousands of years ago, and they were the ones that were looking at how these cycles in nature affect us and impact us. So they were looking at seasons, they were looking at the sun's pattern, and they were saying, well, how can we place ourselves in our environment so that we're going to be nourished and not depleted by it. So it's working with that principle, and then we move your couch or your desk.
How about things like plants or water or other elements in your living space?
Well, it's a good thing. The way I like to work with an environment is I like to be able to blur that line between the built environment and the natural environment. We used to live a lot closer to nature. We used to be tied to the rhythms and cycles and seasons. Now we are in artificial lights. We are in buildings that don't breathe with artificial ventilation. So as much as we can bring nature back into the built environment, that is going to support us. It's something that we resonate with at a very core level. So bringing plants in is always a good cure in Feng Shui. Bringing water in, because we resonate with water. We're 90-something% water. So we definitely want to bring those elements of nature into our built environment.
How about color? Is that a significant factor?
Huge. Color is huge. I mean, it affects us emotionally. It affects us physiologically. We walk into a house with white walls is a lot different than walking into a house with orange or red, which is vibrant and juicy and gets us going. So we definitely want to know where to place those colors. We don't want, vibrant red in our bedroom because we want it to be soothing. So you might pick something calm, or like a nice cool lavender, or even something more earth, like a yellow, or something to help you sleep and be grounded at night.
So do you not only need to know the actual structure where you're going to be doing this, do you need to know the energy of the person or what they need?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really about how I look at working with Feng Shui it's really about asking someone what's going on with them internally. What in their life is the something that they want to change. And as we sit down and discover what that is, we can then look at the house and see how that's being reflected back to them. Because my belief is that what is surrounding us is just a reflection of what's going on inside. So sometimes it's easier to work out here right? It's not as scary as to work on maybe, you know, sitting down in therapy. It's like, well, let's do some therapy with your home out here. This is a relationship you have with your home. So let's see how we can maybe tweak a little bit in your environment to support you and see how that impacts you over time.
And you work with businesses as well, not just people's residents. You do both.
Yes, definitely. It's really big in business. I mean, we want to be able to get energy to the business, and we want to be able to be productive, and we want to have a successful business. So people call me in for Feng Shui in their offices or home offices and their places of business.
Now, how did it, where did it originate? You had said China? Mm-hmm. And how did it get from China to here?
Well, it's traveled from China, it's gone through Malaysia and Singapore, through Tibet, into Japan. It's been traveling all over. And it really came into the United States probably in the 70s. That's when a lot opened up. Acupuncture came into the United States. Everybody's heard of acupuncture. Feng Shui is kind of like doing acupuncture in your environment. And it really hit in probably the 90s, the late 90s. That's when I heard of Feng Shui in 98. And I remember going to look up on a website, which 10 years ago wasn't like the web these days. And there were 10 sites, and there were some classes being taught in San Francisco. So
now, in order to be a Feng Shui consultant, you went to school, and what was that all about? How long did it take?
I have been a student and practitioner of Feng Shui for 10 years. And the first course I took in 1998 was at USF, of all places, in San Francisco. And it was a 3-month course. And I went into that course knowing nothing of Feng Shui. And I understood about I didn't understand 90% of what was said to me. It went completely over my head. But there was 10% that landed. And so I looked for a teacher to do a training with, and found a teacher in San Francisco who did a year-long training with a group of 9 people. We met every week for a year. And that kind of solidified for me my training in Feng Shui. But that has not stopped. I continue to study, and did more study in classical compass Feng Shui at the Golden Gate School of Feng Shui in Marin, which is a 9-month training. And continue to find teachers who I can deepen my study with.
Now that you had one of those, it's an interesting diagram that actually was a compass. Is that what you were talking about? Mm-hmm. I mean, the name of the school is that as well. Can you explain what is that?
This is it's a Lopan, Chinese Lopan compass, and basically it has all the cosmology, of the cosmos in this compass. So it takes into consideration directionology, it's looking at astrology, it has the I Ching, which is a book of changes and divination that was written thousands of years ago. And basically, I take this and use this as a tool and bring it into a home or office and lay this on the floor plan of the home or office. And that way I can dial up the energies of the different directions. I can look at the flying stars and the sitting direction, the facing directions, and that gives me kind of a matrix that I can lay over a floor plan to start seeing where patterns of energy that are blocked are stuck, so we could start working from it.
How do you feel blocked energy in a physical location? What does it feel like?
Have you ever experienced clutter?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's a good indicator of blocked energy or stuck energy. Where is that pile of papers always piling up in your office or in your home? It's a good indication of where there's stuck qi. Another way that energy can be stuck if it's too much of something. I don't know if you're familiar with yin and yang. Yin being a very receptive, earth and calm energy, and yang being more of an active energy, vibrant, heavenly energy. If something is too yin, it can be stuck. So think of something that is damp, like a marsh. That would be energy that is not moving. So with Feng Shui, we want to have energy moving. We want to have it moving. We don't want to have it moving too fast, or we don't want it to get stuck. So we want to look for that balance point. We want to see where things are out of balance and how to bring them more into balance.
Do you even work in areas like the attic and the basement, places that you might not spend a lot of time or any time at all? Is that important?
Yes,